with them. That's a little bit of what I'm going to be talking about. All right. Well, again, thank you all for joining us here today at the Senior Resource Center. And do we have some people on Zoom?
We do. We have Mr. George and Miss Barbara.
All right. Well, Mr. George and Miss Barbara, thank you for joining us again today.
Hey,
Thank you, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. So we're going to get started, but I'm going to have to leave that up, I believe, to Rachel and Kelly here.
Okay. So like you were talking about, we're preparing as if it was a hurricane. So you have no refrigerated items and you can only use items in your pantry. So do you have your pantry ready?
I do. You can see I've got some pantry items here. All right, and this is always good to have on hand, canned goods, although, you know, we do talk about fresh foods, and frozen foods. Hey, can I take this off? I think- did we see
As long
something?
as you have,
Okay, as long as you stay away from me, I can take this off and then you can hear me better. So we do have a lot of canned goods in here. It's always good to have some protein foods because typically we think of protein as being fresh, but we do have some tuna here. We have some canned chicken. There are some anchovies and sardines back here. So, you know, you may not like those, but you know, you can mix them into dishes that maybe you would like better that way than just opening up a can of sardines. We have some canned vegetables. Beans are always important to have because that's, again, another protein source. Okay. We have some fruits here. We have them canned, and then we also have dry. And then thinking about, you know, some items do last for a while at room temperature, some fruits and vegetables. So like potatoes, have a sweet potato here, have an apple here, doesn't necessarily need to be refrigerated. So that's always good to have on hand. And then we have water here. This is pretty cool. I don't know if any of you have used bottled water. A lot of people here do in Wilmington. Bottled water. Yeah, this is nice because you can, the only problem with this is that it is heavy. And, but that's a reason to perhaps invite your son over to help you get the bottled water where it needs to go. Excuse me, just a moment. This is one of our drivers. So I'm going to run and give this to someone. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
I'm multitasking today, okay?
Back up, back up. Oh, it comes up. Oh, that's a good, I'm not gonna run that. I don't think that, I don't think that. We bring Frank over there today, huh?
I am so sorry. Okay. So I was talking about the water a little bit. The nice thing about the 5-gallon jug is that you can exchange it. And so you're not throwing away water bottles or the gallon containers. So it is very nice. And then actually on the top is a pump that just slips right down on top. And you can get this at Amazon or other locations for probably about $10. So it's very convenient. Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm getting a challenge yet or whether I'm going ahead with just kind of planning on with my pantry items here, starting the dish.
Yeah, right now you're going to just prepare a dish with only your pantry items. You don't have any power.
Okay, no power. All right. So everything's got
No carrot.
power. No power. Okay. So I do have, these are going to be my pretend grills. One's going to be a charcoal grill and one is going to be a gas grill. So those you would be able to use during a power outage. It's always good to have a little something if the electricity does go out that you can cook on. All right, so let me see what I have in my pantry here. And again, I do want to kind of think about, the different food groups, that we like to put together to make a complete meal. We did talk about beans being good protein, good fiber. I always do try to keep tomatoes on hand, right color tomatoes. So there we've got good nutrition there. And we could add a little extra protein with the chicken breast. So this is kind of a Mediterranean stew that I'm thinking about that we can make here. That's very simple, just basically warming up on the stove. Okay, so we're going to use those basic ingredients, and then it does call for basil and garlic. So I pretty much have everything I need here. So I will begin.
Excuse me, Ellen.
Yes.
Your neighbors, their electricity's out too, and they're coming over for dinner.
Oh, well then you know what? I think I'll add another can or two. Okay. I'm grateful that I do keep a pretty well-stocked pantry here. All right. Okay. All right. So fortunately, I've got that.
I get that seafood, I get that tomatoes.
All right.
They prefer to shelter at your house.
Okay. All right. So they need a place to stay like until the storm is over?
Yes.
Okay. So I need to make sure I have enough food. So this meal I am preparing. I always keep plenty of water. They do say that during, a disaster, a power outage, that you should have at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. That's kind of a lot of water, but I do have another couple of these as well. So I think I'm good on water, which is very important to have. All right,
Right now, I got 3 cases of water.
that's good. That's good. So
When I get down to 1 case, I will get 2 more.
that's smart. So you're keeping it well stocked then.
Yeah.
That is excellent, Viola.
I go to food right and get it cheap. I got it on sale this time, I got 2 of them for $4 and something, counting tax. Yeah, it's only $3 for this stuff.
Okay, now with the beans, we are going to drain them. So I'm gonna take them over to the sink here and drain.
I gave it $5 for it.
And then
$2
I do have a big pot here that I'm gonna put on my gas grill. And just in case, because I seem to have a lot of challenges coming my way, I will make sure that I've got my charcoal grill going. So we're gonna pretend, we've got our charcoal going over here. Come in. Join us. So we're just gonna drain the beans here. These are garbanzo beans, which you kind of think of with Mediterranean cooking. But really, any type of bean would work here. I've made this before and used navy beans, pinto beans. Well, since we're in, yes, Con. Why? Well, that helps get some of the salt out of it, which is important with canned goods, that you do rinse them if you can. Now, the tomatoes, we're not obviously going to be able to rinse, but the beans we certainly can. So actually, this just gets placed in the pot. And then we add our tomatoes. I like the petite diced tomatoes because They cook down quite well. How many of you canned tomatoes in your early years? Sure.
Miss
Yes.
Barbara says she has.
Yes.
Oh, and
No,
Mrs.
I didn't quite hear the question. I've never canned tomatoes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
With my garden. Yeah. Now I can't eat tomatoes.
We don't have power, but we're pretending that this is this one is a gas grill. Do any of you have alternative ways of cooking at home without electricity? Grill. Uh-huh. All right, this calls for a fair amount of garlic, and any of you who have been in my been cooking with me before know I really like garlic. Everyone like garlic? Okay. Now you can use fresh or dried, and we're using dried today. Now, because we are in a hurricane or disaster situation here, this dish lends itself to other items as well. So, you know, you have your refrigerator and you don't want to open it too much or too often. But, you know, it's always good to have a thermometer in your refrigerator so that you know what the temperature is. And I would say, you know, if the power's been off for a few hours, maybe like 6 hours, you're going to want to, you know, try to use up those fresh items that are in there. Probably by that time, the temperature's starting to get lower. But you know, you might want to peek to see what it is, because if you have fresh items in there like dairy or meat or anything, that would be something you'd certainly want to start cooking with to begin with. And add some basil to this as well. But if you had like some carrots, celery, onion, you know, those are usually staples that we have in our crisper. You can certainly add this to this dish as well. So we're just going to start this up. And I'm gonna add a little bit more garlic since we're cooking for our neighbors. Just gonna give this a quick stir.
I think that noise means there's another challenge.
Oh, well, all right then. Let me hear
Time
it.
for your secret ingredients.
Oh, a secret ingredient, okay.
Yes, so Rachel has 2 bags of secret ingredients. And the challenge is for Mr. George and Miss Barbara get to pick one of them out of those 2 bags for you to have to use today. And your members of your live audience get to pick one of the other ingredients. So 2 ingredients, 2 of those secret ingredients you must use right now. And your
All right.
audience gets to choose what you have to use.
All right.
What's in your first bag?
Okay, in the first bag, we have brown sugar, we have cocoa, we have coconut chips, sunflower seeds, black-eyed peas, and chicken broth.
Hmm.
You can open up the other bag as well, Ellen, and combine them all together.
Okay, kind of what we were talking about. We have carrots, shredded carrots. We have a lemon. And we have celery.
Okay.
All right. So the Zoom audience gets to pick one,
Right?
okay? And then our audience gets to pick one.
Mr. George, Miss Barbara, what are you thinking she should use?
Chicken broth.
Chicken broth.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. George agrees.
Okay,
Yep.
All right, great choice.
All
All right, live audience gets to pick another.
okay. I heard carrots, carrots. Now you're making this way too easy for me here. But I'll go with it, okay? That's perfect because rather than stew, I think we're gonna have soup. Okay, so, and actually that will help serve more people. And since I have the neighbors coming over, it will probably allow me to serve a couple meals out of my now chicken, bean, tomato, carrot soup. So thank you all. You're too kind to me. Although I don't know if my challenges are over, but we'll see. All right. So Miss Barbara and Miss Catherine, I thank you for your choices.
Okay.
Actually, you know, we could have actually even used the celery in it too. Okay. All right, so since we have yes, it's starting to simmer. So I think we can add our carrots here. Lots of nice color here. We'll add our chicken broth. It is a reduced sodium, so that was a good choice. All right. Now I'm thinking, since we're making more of a soup now, rather than kind of this Mediterranean stew that I was thinking about, that maybe there's some other herbs that we can add to it. And, you know, I have my box of herbs over here. Are there suggestions from the group here, either online or in person here, as far as the herbs that we might want to add to our soup here? Oregano, that sounds wonderful. Any others? Pardon me? Perfect. Okay, so oregano. See how I pulled that out? Are you impressed? Because I have, you'll have a couple of them. There must be about 35 in here. I try to keep them in alphabetical order. Not always. You really don't want to look at it right now because not everything is in alphabetical order. And then we're going to add some black pepper to that.
Ms. Barbara, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
I put bouillon cubes in everything I'm fixing, especially soup. Does she have bouillon cubes?
I do not, but that would give it more of a
Flavor,
rich
a good flavor.
flavor.
Mhm.
Yes, it would. But I do not have that in my cup in my pantry.
That is a good thing to have on hand, though.
It is,
It is.
absolutely. Anything else from my pantry that you think we should add to here?
Just don't add sardines.
Not to worry, not to worry. Okay, all right, well, I think we're doing pretty well here. Since the chicken is pre-cooked, I'm gonna wait and add that towards the end. You don't wanna overcook it. Yes,
You have ginger in your pantry?
I do.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes. Now that one, I'm probably not gonna be, oh,
All right. That-
yes. How much do you think?
Well, yeah, we have, yes, let's just. Okay, that's what we can do.
All right. Any other ideas? Sometimes it's good to add a little bit of acid to food to give it kind of a zing, like whether it's vinegar or like lemon juice or something like that. But I don't believe I brought any of my vinegars. That I think we're gonna do pretty well with this. This is gonna take a little bit longer for those carrots to cook up. Let's, I don't know if we have any more challenges coming, but we'll see. Let's talk about kind of some things that we could have on hand for being prepared. Do you all think about once we get into hurricane season, about keeping a supply of pantry items on hand, having water on hand, making sure, you know, your flashlights has the batteries in it and that it's working. That's all very important.
And you want to break them together.
And you can see once we dine here, using paper plates because, you know, we're not gonna have hot water to wash things in. These sheets give you a little bit of guidance as far as what to have on hand. Certainly to have an emergency plan if we should get a storm coming our way and if, you know, it looks like it's going to be bad and we might need to evacuate, it's always good to know where you can go, or whether it's a shelter here or to shelter away from home. The garlic. Okay. Okay, all right, okay. So that is something to consider with, you know, when you're making, like, for the neighbors that are coming over here. If they have any food allergies or intolerances. Right. What are some other things that we haven't talked about that are good to have in your pantry, in case of a power outage?
Ellen,
Yeah, oh, yes. Oh, dear.
time for another challenge.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Are you ready?
Well, I don't know. Am I?
Yes, you're ready.
Okay, they say I'm ready.
Time to call a friend. Do you have your phone?
I do. Okay.
Your challenge is your next door neighbors, you know, that are on their way. One of them has like a really bad sweet tooth and they love their dessert. One of them has a sweet tooth and they love their dessert. So your challenge is to phone a friend and talk to them about what pantry items, or if you have anything left in your fridge that you're able to use, and what suggestions do they have for you to create a little dessert for your friends?
All right, I can do that, I think. Now, are there any other items besides what I have out here?
No,
Okay, all right. And can I use any of the items from the 2 bags here?
Kelly, what do you think?
I say yes.
Okay. All right,
You can get
Okay.
the audience's participation as well if you'd like, but you do have the option to phone a friend if that would be helpful.
okay. All right, well, first off, let's talk about a dessert that we could make. We've got the brown sugar, we have the coconut, we have cocoa, and I do have those over here. I do have apricots. I have chocolate chips, you know, I'm thinking if I had I might not need to call a friend. We could melt chocolate chips and dip the apricots in them. I see a nod of the head. What do you
It
think?
looks like a, almost like a pudding, but, you know, you don't even have to put the apricots in it. I mean, the pudding and the chocolate chip. you know, right, yeah,
So the pudding would be made out of what?
chocolate chip.
Just the
chocolate.
chips, just the chips.
I mean, you can add it to it depending on the friend that's coming over or whatever.
Right. Right. Okay, well, I think that's a great idea. Let me call a friend and see if he has some other idea for me.
When you phone your friend, would you come a little closer so we can hear him better on the camera?
Yes.
And who have you decided to call?
Decided to call my friend Ryan. Hey, is this Ryan? This is Ellen, and I've been given a challenge here in the cooking class here to make something sweet dessert. I have neighbors coming over during the hurricane, and I need to make something with the ingredients that I have on hand. So let me tell you what I've got and see what your thoughts are here. So I do have, and one thing that we thought of here was I do have dried apricots and I do have chocolate morsels. I was thinking I could melt the chocolate and dip the apricots in that. But I also have assorted fruit. I have cooked apples, fried apples. I have mandarin oranges, pineapple chunks, dried raisins, and cranberries. I do have brown sugar, flour, and oats. I don't have any butter. I have oil.
Oil. Yeah, that's another, the only other thing I was thinking was you could do like an apple. So what are your abilities to heat just in that,
Just the induction cooker.
induction?
But I do have a covered dish that I, like a cast iron covered container.
The only thing that pops in my head is also do, take the apricots, chop them, and then you can make like an apple crisp with the oats, the brown sugar. And do you have any, you said you had some flour of some sort?
I do. I have flour.
You're gonna do like 1 part flour, 2 parts oats, brown sugar. You can use oil as your substitute for butter.
Okay.
And I would make a topping, and then I would just saute the apples and the chopped apricots and a little extra brown sugar in there, and then obviously you just have to put the lid on.
Right.
And sort of cook the oats or cook the topping all together.
Okay.
So that would be my initial thought. You could possibly put some of those chocolate is it like milk chocolate pieces or is it?
It's the bittersweet chocolate chips.
Gotcha. Possibly put that on the top as well. at the
Oh.
Very end. Just as like a topper to the apple apricot crisp. That's just my initial thought. is
Okay.
the crisp, the oat something. Obviously, you could add in any sort of fruit, but to have all those items, you could probably mix that by hand as it sautés, and then at the end, as it thickens, add the topper, and then add the lid, and then you should have what resembles a crisp. I would think.
All right. Excellent.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Ryan.
All right.
Okay, bye. So what do we think?
Sounds good. Be good for you. This will be good for you.
It does, doesn't it? It's simmering well, so I'm gonna turn it down here. So shall we go with the, yes, honey?
I have been looking at the sweet potato, old fashioned.
As that is something sweet.
That is sweet.
It is. Well, what would we do with that?
Brown sugar. there.
It is, it is. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave it up to the group here. Uh-huh. Okay, all right. So shall we do the apple crisp then, like Ryan was saying?
Yes.
All right. So I've got my charcoal going. I'm gonna put my Dutch oven on that with the apple sauteing. Okay, now we're gonna use the apricots, chop those up. Right. Have any of you camped in your younger years? You
Yes.
ever camped and used like a Dutch oven over the coals, making different things?
No, we didn't use Dutch oven.
Pardon me?
We didn't use Dutch oven.
Okay. What kinds of things did you cook?
What that kind of thing?
Yeah.
It's been too long. Probably most canned goods, things you can warm up,
Right,
that were. you know,
right,
Not too complicated.
right.
The only thing I did was they you just got my grandfather.
Oh, nice.
We got it at you from scratch. I didn't go camping.
Well, my son was a Boy Scout, so we did a lot of camping.
My daughter was a Girl Scout too,
Okay,
so we did some camping with her.
right,
We did little troop,
yes. Okay,
it's been several years.
yes, yes. Do you all like apricots?
Yes.
Oh, aren't they wonderful?
Are they oats, are they the wood mint oats or flat rolled oats or
They're the old fashioned
old fashioned rolled
rolled
oats?
oats, uh-huh.
They shouldn't take long to cook.
Pardon me?
They don't take long to cook.
Right. All right. There used to be a recipe that my kids would make when they were camping, using the cast iron, like Dutch oven, that had the kind of the inverted lid, so you could put the coals on the top too, so it's more like you were baking. And it was like a dump cake. It was cake mix and fruits and Probably butter. I'm kind of loosely chop those up.
I think we had a gas stove, but the stove was outside.
The stove what?
The stove was on the outside, you know.
Oh, yes.
Internal. I mean, it was pulled out.
Okay.
I can't have nothing fried. Always get
I'm just warming up the apples. I think Ryan said to add a little bit of brown sugar to this. Okay. He didn't say cinnamon. I think some cinnamon would be good on here, or maybe he did. What do you think?
I got it real.
Okay, so this is, I'm gonna add a little bit of the juice from the apples to this, just kind of help make a sauce. Okay, as that's cooking down, I'm gonna make the topping.
Okay.
I think he said 1 part flour to 3 parts oats. He's gonna kind of estimate this here.
That smells better than the syrup.
That smells good, doesn't it? Okay,
Sometimes you can buy those canned apples, it's already got cinnamon.
I did see that at the store. Yes. So there's 3 parts oats. Check my apple mixture here. Oh my goodness, what do you think? I want to check this. It's doing well. All right, I am going to add a little bit more cinnamon to this. And then this, we would normally cut butter into this or some kind of fat, but we don't have that, but we're gonna use the oil. I have the canola oil here that I'm just going to drizzle a little bit on. more brown sugar. Huh? Neighbor does have a sweet tooth.
My daughter has a homeless ministry,
As what?
has a homeless ministry. And I took a copy of the front desk, all the places that has, like the food pantries, all the places that have, like, you can get a bath, or you can stay overnight, homeless people. But the food pantries is for anybody that moves. So we got a copy of the office, I left one up there. In case anybody like moves in or moves themselves, but the food pantries, we've got a copy of every one of the pantries we want.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. Now, Brian had the idea of adding chocolate chips to our topping. What do you think? I see both. Okay, how about if I put part, just chocolate chips on one part and the other part without?
Yes.
I also have pecans here. Should we add any pecans? And I have the dried cranberry. Should I sprinkle a few of those on for color? I don't know.
Alan,
Yes,
you're not only gonna have soup, you're gonna have a soup that dessert.
gonna have a what? Dessert?
Dessert.
A soup that dessert.
Souped up dessert. I like that.
How about the chocolate chip? Are they semi-sweet, sweet or?
They're bittersweet.
Bittersweet. It's better for you.
Yes. Everybody's okay with pecans? You're not. You're not, Elsie. Okay. I'll just put pecans on half, but you wanted the chocolate. So we'll put pecans on one half and chocolate on the other.
No, but change this.
Now, you saw how easy this was to do. So I'm thinking this is gonna turn out really good. So might be something you might wanna try at home. All right.
Oh, my.
With that. That's. Try that. All right, now we have our soup here. And I think we could probably add our chicken to it.
Barbara, do you have a question? or
I
comment?
do for Ellen, yes. When I have soup, I like to either have rolls or crackers. Do you have either of those in your pantry?
I do not, but that would be an excellent choice.
Yeah.
And crackers would be something that would last longer than a loaf of
Mhm.
bread.
Yeah.
Yes. So that would be a good choice. Okay. Actually, that broth would go right in there as well. Okay, so we've added our chicken in. Break that up a little bit. Gonna let that simmer a little bit more. Alright. So those of you that are in here for dining with us today, you might have to just stay and dine in here. I'm not sure. We're almost finished though. Okay. Okay, questions, comments on anything? Anything more? Yes, Connie.
Yeah, I admire you. Yeah. Especially in front of
Well, I didn't have a choice.
No. Ellen, I have a question.
Yes.
So because this is your last cooking demonstration, do you think next month you'd be willing to give Kelly and I challenges so we can be the ones cooking?
Oh.
Do you think you can join us?
I would love to do that.
All right. Kelly, did you hear that?
You might want to watch out.
I know. She's gonna give it back to
I
us.
just might. No, that would be great. That would be great. Well, you all know I love to cook, so it's fun, and I have really enjoyed the challenges here. I'm gonna try the soup, see what we think, what I think as far as the seasonings. I think we did good. I'm gonna take a peek over here. Turn that down. I had that up a little too high. That's a little toasted. We just kind of made it caramelized a little bit. And I think it's actually, it just needs to steam there a little bit. All right. So,
I would like to say something.
yes, ma'am.
As far as hurricane weather, my husband taught me this. I lost him about 4 years ago. But we have a base, and what we do is we start in December, and every time we go to the grocery store, we buy a couple of extra cans of like beans or like canned chicken. We would put it under the stairwell. If you got a closet that you're not using the bottom of it, take and put you a box of canned goods come in and just start stacking it at the bottom of that closet. Then when hurricane weather comes, you got all of that. And if you don't use it, bring it out in December and put it into the regular pantry, then start it all over again, so that whenever hurricane season gets here, you've got a stock. Maybe 1 or 2 cans of beans a week, or a can of chicken or something, and that really helps us to be prepared. Even a gallon of water, a half a gallon,
Right.
you just stick it in the bottom of it in the closet or clean out a closet. And then that way you've got your supply and you just rotate it in December.
That is wonderful. That way it's not going out of date.
It's not going out.
Exactly, exactly. And on the back of the sheet does have a list of all those items that Joan was talking about. So peanut butter, another good protein, you know. Shelf-stable milk or canned milk, and even dry milk. Sometimes I use dry milk in cooking, in baking, but, you know, it doesn't hurt to have some type of milk on hand too, okay? Okay, well, I think we are ready to try everything out here. Do you all want to stay in here for that, or should I bring it to you in the dining room? Okay, well, hopefully I'll have enough for everyone. I think I should because we have neighbors coming over. So you all are neighbors. All right. Well, thank you. And Mr. George and Miss Barbara, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it. I wish you were here to try some.
All right. Bye, Mr. George.
Okay.
Thanks, Miss Barbara.
Bye-bye.
You are very
Yeah.
welcome.